Hi, I'm MikeKSmith, and on 18th of March 2022, I'm going to be supporting Dohnavur at their Glasgow gig at Stereo in Renfield Lane. In this series of videos, I'm going to be walking you through my thought process in selecting songs, preparing Ableton Live sets for performance, and walking you through some rehearsals as I prepare for that gig. In this video, we're going to be talking about song choice. I've got two things predominantly on my mind. Number one is that I haven't played any of these tunes live before. So I have played live gigs before, playing bass in a band, playing in orchestras, and I've played my tracks at electronic open mic nights. But the majority of tracks I'm thinking of playing have been created in the last 18 months when there have been no gigs or opportunities to play them. So I'm not terribly confident about my abilities to play them. Yet. But that's why we're starting now in August 2021. Number two is that this is a support slot, so I've got 30 minutes to get out there, play a decent set, and then get off the stage. This is not the time to play Jazz Odyssey and noodle around with generative stuff for 30 minutes. I can leave that for another occasion. What I want is to make a good impression and set the stage for the main act, which is Dohnavur. So the tracks need to make an impression. They don't have to be from my latest album. And in fact, at the present moment, none of the tracks are from my latest album. I want to choose an opener that's not going to be too taxing to perform. I'm likely to be very nervous and in need of something reassuring to get us going without too much going on at once. Accept and Move On is a remix I did for Dohnavur's first album, You Can and You Shall. It has a quiet start, which will give me time to make sure I'm pressing the right buttons, turning the right knobs, that the levels are okay. I'm going to have to look closely though at what part I might play live. Or, because this is the first track, I might just mix this one live and play effects. So, that would be an easy opener. Stratus 2.1 is a tune from the Loop Union, and it's one where I started the tune, created some stems, passed them to Fraser, and he finished it off. That's just how we tend to work there. One starts, the other finishes. So what I'm going to do here is to get the stems from Fraser, and then see about playing the chords and the lead lines live, perhaps even the bass line. I'll need to learn the parts and look into recreating some of the sounds on the Microfreak, or I might sample the sounds if that proves difficult. I may also look at glitching up the drum parts. At the minute they are more or less the same all the way through, and so it might be interesting to glitch those up a little. I'm not sure if I'm going to be brave enough to do live looping on the synth parts, but we'll need to see how that goes in rehearsals. Twisty is a newer track of mine. That bass line is shouting out to be played live. I may also look at the MIDI for the moving ARP part that comes in later and look to play that through the Microfreak and tweak the sound as it's happening. When I come to arrange the set in Ableton Live, I'll need to see how feasible it's going to be to switch between instruments and parts. What can be played live, what needs to be looped in. If I'm looping, I might loop the MIDI rather than the audio, but we'll need to see. But I like this track. It has lots of good movement, and I think it would be interesting enough for the audience. Similarly, the next track 1 has good movement. This features Ali's modular wobbly synth line, which I'll trigger along with some of the other parts which I'll just have as a beef up track. And I'll play the synth string parts live using a sample, I think. I've had a shot at arranging this track for live performance before, so I know a little bit about what I'd like to do here. But of course, we'll need to see how it goes in rehearsals. In her course, How to Perform with Ableton Live, Rachel K. Collier talks about having beef-up tracks, which support the live performance part. She likes beef-up track rather than backing track, so you look at your tune as a whole, you decide which parts to play live, and then the rest go in the beef-up track, and then you arrange from there. There are various tricks that you can then use to help keep you from having to be a cross between a blue-arsed fly and an 8-armed octopus on stage. The aim is to have a good time, and if you're having a good time, the audience will be having a good time. That's the theory. The last track for the set has to be the track 41 from the TS album Synergism. It's my attempt to create something like Res by Underworld, a big banger tune. Although it doesn't have any drums, it's got real drive, and it's got an uplifting lead line there which I think will really work here. It starts fairly unassuming, but then it blossoms out and there's lots going on in there. In this, I'd love to use the Microfreak to do that moving line on top, so I can tweak the filter cutoff and resonance and do all that kind of good knob twisting stuff. So, that's what I'm currently thinking for the set. Things may change, of course. When I come to arrange the tunes for live performance, there may have to be compromises and I may have to rethink, but for now, I think that's shaping up to be quite a nice set. So, thanks for your attention. Hope to see you there.